about how this week went for you, because it really tells us a big picture of everything that goes on every day for us. Every day really shows how we show up. But I want you to think about this. What if the only thing between where you are now and a massive breakthrough in your life is just one decision you made today? I know that because one decision changed my life. I'm always forever talking about it. One speaker changed my life. One idea changed my life. One decision changed my life. So I want you to listen up here carefully. If you're here right now and you're watching this, is because you're hungry for more. Something more is in front of you. Now, you don't know how to do it, or else you'd already be doing it. And you're tired of being stuck, tired of watching other people while you're settling for your current set of results if you're not dominating. I want to give you a blueprint to break out, level up, and really live the way you want to live. But I want you to be fired up about this because you could change so quickly. And I want you to understand change happens like this. I was talking to a client this morning and they told me, they said, these last 30 days with you has been the best 30 days of results. And I said to them, it doesn't surprise me because you're doing the work. Whatever ideas that I really implemented that changed my life, the only reason my life changed was because I did the work. A lot of people don't do the work. They binge YouTube, which I hope you binge my page. They binge podcasts, but they don't do the implementation. When you do the implementation, it really works. And let's be honest, being stuck sucks. Like, I hated being stuck. It's not fun. It's essential sometimes to feel that pain that fuels us to really get to that next level. But I want you not to wake up every day feeling stuck. It's not fun. I don't want you to run in circles anymore. I don't want you to keep gathering information. I want you to decide who you're going to be and start working at it. You notice people, every year they have the same problems, same excuses, same results. It's like a fulfilling cycle. And they're not living, they're surviving. Is that you? You got to ask yourself, is that me right now? Is that me that Arash is talking to? And, questions change my life, and I got one for all of you right now. What is the cost of staying stuck for another year? Another 5 years? Can you afford that? Can you afford staying stuck for another day? So I want you to think about this, but I'm going to give you the one thing that activates everything else is decision and the power of decision. Success always starts with one decision, not 10, not 20, just one. And it's the decisions you make that nobody sees. It's something you're connected to deep in your heart that's like, I know it makes no sense for me to do this, but I know that's what I have to do. That's the type of decision where you decide who I'm going to be and who you're done being. And you start working on it from wherever you are. And ask yourself, have you made that type of decision and followed through? That's what I want you to think about. So you give me any question and I will answer it. I will answer any question.
Okay, great. So we have a question here from Raj. Arash, you talk about the scarcity mindset. How do you avoid slipping back into a scarcity mindset?
Well, you're always going to slip back if you haven't firmly decided who you're going to be. 95% of our day, Raj, is run by a program. So most people, they'll read a book, they'll watch a video, but then they don't have a game plan and they slip back. So how you avoid that is you've got to get great at accepting and rejecting ideas from who you want to be. Let's say, Raj, that you want to double your income. And then a thought comes in, I don't know if I could do that. Right there we reject it. Say, no, that's coming from my old self. If one person can do it, I can do it. And you start getting in the habit of doing this. So I remember when I was struggling, Raj, I learned about this philosophy of automatic negative thoughts and automatic positive thoughts. Automatic negative thoughts happen right away. They can happen from somebody outside of you who says something to you where you don't reject it. But our thoughts travel faster than the speed of light. So when we get so good at accepting and rejecting, so I want you to give yourself every day when you wake up, I want you first to say, I'm going to make every decision from my goal, from the future I'm designing. And I know the one obstacle that I face every day, Raj, is present results. Everyone does. So lack always comes from an environment outside of you. So when you really commit to a goal, because if you don't commit, you're not going to do this. But when you commit and say, I'm done with scarcity, anytime it comes up, I want you to reject it and reaffirm the opposite. You do that for 30 days, it's going to become a habit and it's going to change your world.
Okay, Owen is asking, I want to hit my first 100K a month or a million. What's one mindset shift right now you think that I can make to make that happen?
Act before you're ready. That is $1 million habit. I'll tell you, Owen, when you stop being a perfectionist and you're always acting, even if it makes no sense, and I want you to be willing to fail. I'm not asking you because I love to fail. I don't like to fail either, but I know it's part of success. But I want you to act before you're ready. There's this big lie, I can't do something before I'm ready. You're never going to be ready for a thing until you do it. That is one of the best habits I created. And then I'm going to follow it up with another one. Everything you do, I want you to do with urgency. If you get an idea, I want you to act on it right away. I want you to be obsessed and brain tattoo, do it now. Everything you do it right away, and you do it with an expectation, you're gonna absolutely crush it.
Okay, awesome. Rick is asking, what's the best way someone can work with you?
Text me. Text me at 325-330-8677. You text me and I will work with you closely and show you how to massively break through. If you don't want to text, send an email to hello@vosscoachingco.com. You know what's so interesting that I found? Like everybody that I know who's winning has mentors. Like I spend a significant amount of money every year in mentorship. Why? Because we all have blind spots. And you know, this thing called life, there's always somebody stronger than you. There's always somebody more aware than you. And the one cheat code is mentorship. I always tell my clients how proud I am of them acknowledging that, because this notion I'm going to do it on my own is such crap. Because if you're going to do it on your own, you would have already done it. And I could show anybody in a few months how to create a massive jump if they'll do what I tell them. Get in contact with me. I will help you.
Great. Nicole is asking, what are the top 3 things you did to discipline your thoughts and keep your mind focused on what you want? Your why, especially in the face of adversity.
Well, you know, I had to discover my why first. You know, I had goals before, but they didn't matter to me. It was like everyone told me you have to have a goal. At the time when I was really got serious about this work, there was this acronym, big, hairy, audacious goal. They called it a BHAG. And I was like, oh, this sounds great. Well, it didn't move me. Then I connected to a why. My why was my family. Well, that changed the game for me. And this was before I had kids. It was just my wife and I at that point. But I knew I wanted kids, and my why was I wanted to give them something better than what I had before they even came into the world. That really motivated me. So first I had to commit to what caused meaning to me. That's what a purpose is. So I created a goal of freedom, and I became obsessed with that idea. Now, I didn't even really understand what that meant, but I wanted to live life on my terms. That was the starting point. The second point was I had to commit. Like I started imagining, what if it was possible? What if I started really living that way, doing what I loved and loved what I did? Because when I was in the corporate world, I was good at what I did, but I didn't enjoy it. I mean, I was driving in outside sales like a couple hundred miles every day. And so I wanted something much bigger, but the real thing that did it was I bet on myself. You know, until you bet on yourself, the world is not going to bet on you. And if you mix those 3 things together, those are the 3 that were dominant for me that caused me to propel. And you know, the interesting thing is, It happens so fast. When you bet on you and start doing things before you're ready, the universe has your back. And all of a sudden, I've been doing this work for 3 years, and all of a sudden in 30 days, I had so much change. But it was finally, instead of talking about I was going to do it, I built a bigger standard. And I did it in action, not just saying I'm going to do it. A lot of people say, they talk the talk, but they don't go out of their comfort zone. Being in your comfort zone is going to still steal your dreams.
Thank you. Monique is asking, hey, Arash, I've been feeling a lot of resistance in my life lately. What habits or practices do you use to push through and crush resistance?
Well, you got to understand what resistance is. 98% of the population are drifting because of resistance. Resistance, for me, is super awesome when it comes up. So what does resistance tell us? It tells us it's out of harmony with our current programming. That's why we feel resistance. So whenever I get resistance, that means I have to do a thing. Like Monique, if you worked with me for a week and you saw me work, I get resistance just like you. But I have a trigger. As soon as I get resistance, I have to do that thing right away. I want you to stretch. I don't want you to give into it. Because if you keep giving into resistance, now resistance is owning your mind. I don't want anyone to own your mind. So start with this. I was telling Owen earlier, take action before you're ready. That's resistance. When the resistance comes, I want you to do the thing, not 5 minutes from now, not an hour from now, right in that moment. That might be picking up the phone. That might be contacting me. Whatever you do, do it right away. Don't give into it, because I promise you, it's always going to take you backwards.
Ethan is asking, how can someone reprogram their self-image so it actually matches the life they want?
They have to first write out exactly who they're going to be. You have to write out, who am I going to be and who am I not going to be? But the fastest way to sprint into a new identity is what you're talking about, is start behaving like the person you want to be. It is so much faster and easier to behave our way into a new identity than to think our way into a new identity. It can take months of somebody who's super disciplined to behave their way into a new identity than take moments. I'll give you an example. I was in Las Vegas years ago, and everybody that I was with was kind of getting up, and I was like, I'm going to go to the gym. Well, I was never a runner, and I went to the gym, and then there was this app that came out called Peloton. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm going to do one of their sprints. So I did, I think it was a 30 or 45 minute sprint that I followed. Do you know, for the next 200 days, I ran every day. But it started that day that I did the first one where I behaved my way into the new identity. Then I told everybody, I got so many people on Peloton, I should have stock in Peloton, how many people I got into it. But I mean, I've done that in my whole life. I remember my mentor would talk to me, and he'd be like, Arash, I'd like you to do this. I didn't even know how to do most of the things that he told me to do. And I would just be like, I'm going to do it. So you find the how on the way to doing it. That's why action is the most important thing we do if you want to change your identity. Identity is so easy to change. It is so easy to change. But you have to be willing to do things before you're ready, or else you're not going to change the identity.
Oscar is asking, how do you avoid burnout when you're chasing big goals?
Okay, so Oscar, I'll tell you this. I think burnout is bullshit. I will tell you this. What you're doing is you're doing it the wrong way. You are doing it the wrong way. Do you know what leads to burnout? Not doing it from a detached energy. Doing too many things. So we got to work on a better strategy for you. I used to say it so I could speak on authority on this. I'd be like, God, I'm so burnt out. No, I was never burnt out. I was chasing. I was coming from scarcity. You could come. Now I work so effective, so fast, so urgent, and it doesn't matter to me how long I work. I don't work a certain set of hours a day. I work because I love working, but it never leads to burnout. So what I will tell you, for anybody that's leading it to burnout, that's a very dangerous program you're installing, because it's going to lead to, you could get very good results just because you created great habits, but you're going to constantly be exhausted, and you're going to associate success with exhaustion, and I don't want you to do that. It's a few things compounded over time that create great results.
Okay, so Leo is saying, Arash, you talk about identity and how it drives results. Can you explain what that means?
Yeah, you'll never outperform your identity. So right now, just look at this week. Look at what you performed. That's not what you're capable of performing. It's what is in harmony with your self-image. So what happens is our self-image is the foundation of all of our programming. Your self-image is going to either drive your great results or keep you where you are. You know how many people I've seen that right around the cusp of great results, they quit on themselves. They quit the thing. They say, oh, it's too hard. I don't want to do it. It's not that they don't want to do it. Their identity doesn't match, so it sabotages them. So what is identity? It's the most honest picture of how we see ourselves from the inside. So if you watch a confident person, identity. If you watch somebody who's always doubting, identity. You watch somebody who's great at selling, identity. You watch somebody who's chasing, poor identity. So you got to understand what creates the identity. First, it's your philosophy. That's your automatic operating system, how you're operating with your life. It's your rules. Your philosophy creates your standards. Standards create abundance. Your standards create your story. Your story creates your identity, and the identity creates results. I know for me, any goal that I set, I'm not going to achieve it until I upgrade my identity. Burn this in your mind. Maxwell Maltz said this beautifully. You will never outperform your self-image. So what does that mean? That means all we have to do is work on standards, identity. Standards, identity. That's how you're going to break through.
So Rose is asking, what's the mindset behind when you're like something, you have a loss and you bounce back fast? Like, how can I bounce back fast after I had a loss?
Well, you didn't really lose. You may think you lost, but the universe is testing you for how badly you want it. Like, I lose all the time, but I don't think of it as a loss. Every successful person, they don't think about failure. They think, I have to get better at this. So I wouldn't look at that. So we've got to start doing hard better. When we have a loss, we got to go, how did that serve me? Where could I have been better? Where do I need to continue persisting? Do I have the right amount of faith? But I don't want you to label it a loss. Now, you may have lost a deal. You may have lost a relationship, possibly. You may have lost inspiration. So you got to get to the primary cause. The primary cause is us and our attitude. And I want you to reframe everything in your favor. That's what I did years ago. Something would happen that would cause a setback, and I'd be like, that was happening for me. And when you do that, you're coming from so much abundance. You're literally driving abundance into your life. But any failure you have, it's preparing you for something better as long as you don't quit. Never quit on yourself.
Ella wants to know, what is a non-negotiable, like, daily action that she can take for creating success every day?
There's several. Number one, do it now. Number two is be in control of your mind. 98% of the population has no control over their mind. If you just controlled your mind and started acting before you're ready, success is going to be chasing you down. Success is never a straight line. It's a roller coaster of learning opportunities. So I don't want you to let the outcome determine success. I want you to chase your own greatness. I want you to beat the version who you were yesterday. I want you to believe bigger. I want you to think bigger. I want you to raise your standard higher every day. And if you do that, I'm telling you, success is going to be coming at you so fast. You're not going to chase it. It's going to be chasing you.
Okay, so Miles is asking, I feel, Arash, that I'm having 100 opportunities coming my way. How do I stay focused? And what's something I can do to just choose one?
Well, that's very common. So that's not a bad thing. It's a great thing because you have all these opportunities. I get people who say, where are the opportunities? So they're everywhere. I want you to think about your goal and what opportunities are in line with your goal. What are in harmony with your goal? Then I want you to write the opportunities down. Let's say you pick your top 5. Then I want you to number them, one being the best opportunity to get you to achieve your goal. And I want you to only work on number 1. That's all I want you to work on. You know, Steve Jobs was great about talking about this. He used to say, you have to start saying no to a lot of great opportunities so you say yes and really work deeply at the best opportunity.
Arash, this is from Grant. What's your process for making tough decisions fast?
I don't look at decisions as tough. I'm a risk taker. So I'm willing to lose. And I make decisions so fast. But I only make them if they feel right. And every decision I make is based on these 2 things. If it's going to grow me, it's a hell yes. If it's going to contract me, it's a no. So anything that grows me, I say yes to. Now, if it doesn't feel right while I'm doing it, I'll adjust. And I'll talk about risk for a second, Grant. Most people are playing it safe. They're watchers in their life. They're playing their life not to lose. Any client that I mentor, I teach them how to play life to win. And I want you to play your life to win, because people who don't risk are risking more. But just remember this. It's so easy to make decisions when you understand you. So I got to get you to master you. And I got to teach you how to master you. Because you'll always know what's right for you, because the truth always resonates with the essence of who we are. Like for me, it's like, if this is growing, I'm doing it. And listen, I can stretch people in my company with that. Sometimes it creates resistance because I'm always like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's go for it. I was really good. One of the things I'm really good at that you could learn from is I modeled from when I was losing till now, and I still do it, model people who are performing the results that I want to create. I just did exactly what they did. And that's what I want you to do.
Thank you. Okay. So sorry, we're getting a bunch of questions, which is really good. So I have Elena, and she's saying, Arash, I had a really slow season in the summer. Like, what do I do? How can I build that momentum again back in my business?
So first off, we've got to really look at, why did you have a slow season? What were you expecting? What were your processes? How committed were you? So we got to make sure we eliminate the negative pattern so you don't have slow seasons anymore. And so what I would do to really create momentum, I want you to text me. I want you to text me and I will help you. It's 325-330-8677. I want you to text me, and I want to see why you had a slow season so I can create a better plan. But then I want you to pick a 30-day sprint goal. I want you to pick a goal for 30 days where you're going to get so committed for 30 days on a goal. And I want you locking in with what I tell you. And I want you to do it exactly every day, every day, every day. And I can get you to create momentum within 72 hours.
Okay, we have a question from Mehdi. Mehdi's asking, how do I control my mind?
Oh, you got to get really calm. You got to get good. You got to get good at accepting and rejecting ideas. See, when we're not in control of our mind, we have no chance. So I want you, matey, to think about this. What do you want? And now you have it in your mind. Anything that's not what you want, you do not accept. Every single day, I want you to do this for 7 days and get back to me. So I want you to think about what you want. And you're going to get a lot of things flourishing from what you don't want. You say, no, I don't accept them. I don't accept them. Day by day, you're strengthening and rewiring your mind. And every time it comes up, say, oh, this came from my past self. Do you know every time you say what I just said, you're rewiring your future self? That's what I want you to do. We have to create discipline in our thinking. If you're not going to discipline your thinking, if I'm not going to discipline my thinking, the world is going to discipline it for us. We don't want to do that. Because 98% of the population are not thinking. 98% of the population are in procrastination. 98% of the population are playing it small. Life is going to be as great as your thinking. Your thinking dictates what you earn. And that's why when I work with clients, I always ask them what they want to earn, just so I have an understanding. But I don't work with a lot on money, because money's an effect. I work with their whole being. I work with their whole self. And if I can get you to dominate your thinking, get you to get in control of yourself. I promise you, you're going to earn more than you could ever imagine.
Okay, so Yasmin is asking, Arash, you talk about habits and identity. Do you believe success is in habits or identity or both?
Habits are identity. That's what identity is. Habits equal identity. You show me your habits, I'm going to show you your future. That's what an identity is. Look at how you brush your teeth at night. You do it the same hand. You don't do it with different hands. It's part of your identity. Earning money is a habit, identity. Attitude is a habit, identity. You'll have somebody who's always looking at what's wrong. You'll have another person who's always looking at what's right. So habits are vitally important, but habits equal identity.
Okay. Isabella is asking, how do you know when to double down versus pivoting?
That's a good question. We have to really pivot forward. So when you're talking about pivoting, that's what goes in my mind. Doubling down is always your want. Don't ever settle for lesser goals. Ever, 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 ever. Your want came from the essence of who you are. It starts in your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind gives your conscious mind a signal. Our job is to accept it right away. So we may have to pivot on a different strategy. We may have to pivot on eliminating a lot of things, but we never set lesser goals. Please get this. I want you to get this. So many people have a great goal that they're right there about to achieve it. They don't see it, so they say, it's more comfortable to just set a lesser goal. Never do that, because you're going to constantly sabotage yourself.
Kai's asking, Arash, how do I push through when I'm just mentally exhausted?
Well, why are you mentally exhausted? Let's ask that question. You're not operating with the right energy. So what is desire? A desire is a release of energy. And you've got to understand that. If we're mentally exhausted, we have a lot of negative ideas going through us. That's what creates. Negative ideas deplete us. So we want to start shifting your attitude. We've got to focus for you on developing a much greater, positive, prosperous mental attitude. And I can tell you right now, if you were in my house, I would tell you that first thing. Okay? I'd be like, anybody who is exhausted mentally, they've accepted a lot of negative ideas.
All right, we have another question about identity. So Siobhan, hi Siobhan. I know we have some of our super fans on here, I just saw. With regards to identity, is this the same as being?
Identity is part of your beingness. Like success is about being. It's just who you are. You have to normalize it. Identity, whether you do it intentionally or unconsciously, it becomes your being. It becomes your default setting. So identity, like I always say, if I was doing this all over again, I would have doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on identity. I work on identity every single day, and I have a very healthy identity. But I'm always working on identity because I can always improve it, and I can never outperform it.
Okay, we have a question from Jonathan. He says, I'm 32 years old now. I've identified a vehicle I'm passionate about, which is trading. How do I remove mental blocks to make my first million?
Well, you got to work on your mindset. So we got to upgrade your thinking. Once again, $1 million is not hard to earn. We have to get our thinking up to thinking like a millionaire. So we got to be urgent. We've got to know our craft. We've got to, every 90 days, I want you to upgrade one belief system and one skill set. But I want you to stop focusing on the million and start focusing on yourself. Where do you need to upgrade? What do you need to eliminate? Elimination is so crucial every 90 days to constantly catapult you. Every single one of you on this, you've asked great questions, but I'll tell you this. You've got to set a standard that I create a quantum leap from this point forward every 90 days. Every 90 days. And that's how you're going to earn the million. I remember when I earned my first million. I actually never had a goal to earn $1 million. I had a goal to be free. It was like a year in, a little more than a year and a half maybe. And I remember it was like, I was averaging almost to like 770,000. And I was so pissed. And I was talking to my mentor. He goes, that's what makes you so good. You never give in. And I said, by the end of the year, I'm going to earn my $1 million. And I did. But it was more of competing against myself. So I want you to stop chasing the million and accept it. And I want you to think about a million in your bank account just like you do your current bank account. I want you to think about what you want with the same attitude and acceptance as you do your present results. That's how you're going to speed it up. But a million, 2 million, 10 million isn't what people think. It's about transforming themselves every day, reprogramming themselves every day, being in the most amazing environment every day, proximity. And that's why I tell everybody, I was on a call yesterday with one of my elite groups and I said, every one of you has to get to my event in Dallas. And they're like, well, do you think I have to travel? I said, I don't care where you have to travel. I traveled all over the world to be with my mentor because he taught me proximity. And I want all of you to be there. You are going to be a different person by the time you leave. Now, some people won't do it. Well, because they don't bet on themselves. They don't understand the value. But when you're in that energy and leaving with an exact game plan, there's nothing like it.
Okay, we have to give a shout out to Rick Bayou. He is like blowing up our chat in the best way ever.
Rick's my dude. Even though, poor guy's a Mets fan. He's got the wrong New York team, But Rick is my guy, and I'm going to see you, Rick, in about 3 weeks at World Class Wealth. I can't wait to see you.
All right, thanks, Rick, for that. Love all the positive gems you're giving us in the chat, so thank you. Okay, I hope I'm not butchering this name, Christelle. What if I want to break free from the pain of a real accident? How should I approach that?
Yeah, adversities happen. There's some things that happen that are very difficult. No question about it. But we've got to put our mind towards what we want. Wherever we put our attention, so if we're still focusing on the accident, you're going to have a slow recovery. I want you to see yourself healthy. I want you to give yourself a goal of seeing yourself, whatever the accident is, like you in a healthy body, really living the way you want to live. But I don't want you to keep letting the past, even there's things out of our control. Like I can't control if an accident happens, but I can control how I respond to the accident. And so there's a lot of people that I work with that have gone through terrible things, like very traumatic things. But I don't focus with them on the traumatic things. I focus on how to heal it by focusing on what they want the most. So you got to be careful in not falling to that and letting that accident 2 years later still be controlling you.
Okay, Victor is asking, I'm conflicted, Arash. I don't know if I should choose my passion or profits first.
Always passion. Profits you can always increase. You got to always do what you're passionate about. It's so funny. I got that advice 2009. I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. Gary Vaynerchuk's speaking before he really blows up. And I was in a room with him. There was like 20 people in the room. I went up to him and started talking to him. And I was really not successful at this point. And I said, what's the best advice you give me? He said, whatever you do, do what you love. Forget about the money. The money will always come. Well, a few weeks ago, or maybe about a month ago now, maybe a little over a month, I'm in Italy, and I'm sitting at a table at our resort, and him and his wife are at the next table. So I walk over to him, and I said, I got it. You're not going to remember me, but I got to tell you, you gave me this advice. I told him what he gave me, that exact advice you're asking about. And he said, you followed my direction. He said, look, we're staying at the same resort. That should tell you something. And I tell everybody this story because that was one of the best advices I have ever received in my life. When I followed that, I said no to a lot of things that I could have earned money. I said there was a lot of things that I could have, at the time I was unemployed. I had just lost my job and there were so many job opportunities that were coming my way and I kept saying no to them. And I thought I was being reckless. I followed that advice and I promise you, money you can always earn, but you got to do what you love because there's a lot of people who are earning money and they hate what they're doing and they're miserable. Don't be one of those people.
Logan wants to ask, what's the fastest way to break out of a negative cycle?
You got to change your attitude right away. You got to have a mentor who is going to guide you and push you so much further. A negative attitude, this negative cycle, stop accepting it. You're choosing it. And when we're in a negative cycle, we're on our own self-imposed prison. Well, who created that prison? You and I did. So I want you to really don't even give negativity any attention and stop accepting that. So why are people negative? Because they're letting the outside control them. But I promise you, you can never create the life that you want coming from a negative attitude.
Mila's asking, is there ever such a thing as just wanting too much?
Never, never. The more you want, the better, because that causes you to grow. Growth is the whole purpose. So don't negotiate with yourself. If I want something big, that means I got to grow my character big. So never look at it that way. Ever, 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 because the beautiful part of achieving great things is who you become in the process. So there's not about, oh, I want too much. I want what you want for you. But I'm always teaching people how to 10x their life. Why do I teach that? Because that's how you live an extraordinary life, by the person you become in the process.
Sophia's asking, do you think change happens gradually or
Fast.
Okay.
Transformation happens the minute you decide. You don't see it the minute you decide, but that's when it happens.
Okay, so Ruby's asking, what's one thing I can do to start doing, I can do every day to change my results?
You gotta act before you're ready and do everything right away. Get out of your comfort zone. Every day, Ruby, I want you out of your comfort zone. Do one thing out of your comfort zone every single day.
Okay. All right, Arash, I know you're a fan of psycho-cybernetics. What's your second favorite book you'd recommend to someone just starting in personal development?
Well, Psycho-Cybernetics is not my first favorite book. My favorite book is The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. I've read it over 1,000 times. So I love Psycho-Cybernetics, but it's not my favorite book. It's probably in my top 5.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have time for like one more question. So I guess this is another question about life-changing decisions fast. So Leah's asking, what's your method for making a life-changing decision quickly?
I decide from the person I want to be, not from my current reality. That's how you do it. You've got to build a big idea. The reason people start and stop, they never commit because the idea doesn't drive them. It's not what they really want. And you want to look at going very deep with your want. Why do I want it? What would that mean to me? What kind of impact will I make? Who would that benefit outside of me? How would that make me feel? So when you start defining it, you're going to know what you want. And then your job then, right there, we know what we want. Now we have to get out a pen and paper. Who do I have to be? Who am I going to hire as a mentor? Who am I not going to be? What do I have to let go of and eliminate? Then we pick standards. For the next 90 days, what are the 3 standards that that person demands that I don't have as a part of me that I'm going to build? And then I want you to do 3 actions every day. 3 wins every day, 5 days a week. Over 90 days is 194.5 wins, guaranteed quantum leap.
Okay, so we have Gavin, and let me see if there's anything else. I'm kind of looking around. Arash, you talk a lot about standards. What's the fastest way I can raise my standards right now?
Well, number one, you got to decide what your standards are. And you got to draw a line in the sand and say, I'm never doing that again. I'm never going under that. Standards isn't a once a week, 4 times a week. It's every day. So I want you said Gavin?
Gavin, yeah.
Gavin, I want you to bring everything in your life. That means your thinking, your believing, the type of people you mastermind with, the type of people you learn from, up to your standard. You never drop down. I want you to, most people make every decision from their current standard of living, yet they say they want more. It's never going to happen. I want you to draw a line in the sand. These are the standards that I'm living by, and you've got to be in integrity with them. You do that, you watch, the results are going to pour in.
Okay, Hannah is asking, should I imagine my C-type goal or a smaller short-term goal first?
Your big goal. Always the big goal. Always what you want the most. You will achieve all those other goals on the way.
Okay. Marissa, Arash, how do you let go of a significant other you've been with for over 10 years, when there's mutual dependence without making life miserable?
I don't know the whole story. I work with a lot of clients who go through this circumstance, and you got to ask yourself, life is so short. Is this how I want to live if you're not in a great relationship? Second thing is, can you heal the marriage or heal the relationship? And if you can, I would try to do that. But I don't know all the details to give you the proper advice on it. But life goes by like this. And if you're not fulfilled, you're not happy, and there's not both parties willing to grow together, then I think you're going to have a choice you're going to have to make.
Okay, I think this is going to be our last question.
So you say.
I know, I keep saying that and they keep popping up. Okay, so Mike, he says, I work in the medical field, and he said, what do I do if I'm just exhausted of working in my profession?
Yeah, we want to get you doing a different profession because once again, going back to my last answer, life is so short. And, I understand how many hours you're working if you're in the medical field. You got to ask yourself, is this what I want to still do? If it is, then we may want to adjust how you're doing it. And we may want to start looking at how many vacations do you take? Where are you re-energizing yourself? But the biggest question is that I want you to ask, Mike, is how do I want to live? And is this it? And then I want you to adjust if it's not.
Okay, we're going to close out. I'm going to ask you a question. What's a mindset shift or something that you had that you wish you had when you were in your 20s?
Oh, so many. I mean, number one is responsibility. I'm the only problem, the only solution. Start right there. Second is build a big idea of myself, just work on me. When my life changed is when I decided to change. And I had to decide who I wasn't going to be anymore. I say this all the time. I was studying this for 3 years, and I thought I was the biggest fraud. And one day I had this come to Jesus moment with myself and said, stop. You don't even follow through on anything. So I started with follow through, and I said, I'm just going to be better than I was yesterday. I had a hard time with discipline in the beginning for 3 years. It's because I didn't understand it. So I said, for one day, I could do this. I could do this. I could think this way. And then I did it. I woke up the next morning for one day. Find a mentor that really cares about what they're doing. I love all my clients. Rick's one of my clients. That's why we have such a great relationship. My clients, I know very well. And that's going to speed up. It's not whether you can afford it. It's whether you can afford not to do it. So I want to leave with this. You've got two choices right now. You can take everything I said, nod your head and say, that makes sense. You could say, I've been around this. I've studied personal development. You don't know it unless your results change. Or you can take action. Action changed my life. And if you're ready to break through, I want you to text me at the number I gave earlier, 325-330-8677. I'm looking at it because I have to remember this number. But I want you to text me, I'm ready. And I will help you. I will set up a game plan for you. No fluff, no BS. Just help you map out your next 90 days so you create a massive jump. But remember, winners don't wait. So it's up to you. If you keep waiting, I promise you, you're going to stay frustrated. Send me a message. Let me help you. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys enjoyed, I'll keep doing more of these. Anyway, I hope I talk to you guys really soon.